We've got the latest from the Disneyland Resort and what looks to be a revealing change in crowd levels. This is the scene at Pirates. This is Space Mountain in the middle of the afternoon. We're going to visit every land and attraction and see what else is new around the park. This is our State of Disneyland report. Welcome back to Disneyland, everybody. Here atop the Main Street station for the Disneyland Railroad, getting ready to start our next installment of the State of Disneyland report. This one has been one that I've been looking forward to for the past month or so, considering the setup that we've been going through. The end of January, all of February, and the first half of March, first third of March, have been unusually busy. Intensely so, surprisingly so, unexpectedly so. And during our last State of Disneyland report, we theorized, well, that's probably because of that ticket, the discounted ticket, the $50 ticket for kids. And we saw the effects of that throughout the park. And so that period has ended. It ended on March 10th. As I record this on Friday, March, 15th? 5 days after that run, the discount ticket run ended on March 10th. And it's going to be interesting to find out how the park has changed since then, if any. So we'll head down the steps and get our first vibe check of the afternoon. Dapper Dans, you can hear them in the distance over there, doing their thing as well. Slightly overcast day. Lovely weather though, it's like 70, nice, cool 70. We had a Santa Ana winds blow through here yesterday. That's so great. Oh, Dale's here too. Let's say hi to Dale. Hey Dale. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. Bye, have a great day. That was nice. All right, let's walk down Main Street. Take the temperature, as it were, of Disneyland. Goofy, this is just great, you guys. This is just great. Characters everywhere in their classic costumes, doing what they do best, making guests feel happy and loved and appreciated. You just can't be better than that. Great vibe, great feeling. By the way, it's coming up on showtime. We got about an hour to go for the parade to come down the route, so we're going to probably see a little bit more people on the sides of the street here than we might normally. But already, I don't know if you're picking this up, but this is fewer guests than you might normally find on Main Street at this time of day. As I mentioned now, as I record this, 2:20 in the afternoon. Now it looks like a lot. I know it does. It looks like a lot of people. It looks busy, but you don't feel I don't know. There's a way a heavy crowd feels, and this does not feel like that. I feel like this is people getting ready for the parade. If the parade wasn't happening right now, we wouldn't be feeling quite as many people here as we are right now. So it is my guess is that what we're going to find here in this afternoon is going to be something observably less than what we found 2 weeks ago, or even a week ago at DCA. I have a feeling it's going to be quite nice today. You know what? As usual, let's go back up Main Street and take a look at park accessibility, the reservation calendar, and how that looks today relative to the conversation we're having regarding how open things are. Before we begin, recall last week that we saw a fairly normal reservation calendar for both single day tickets and for Magic Keys. However, something like 2 days after we did that report, Magic Keys went on sale again, and when that happened, the reservation calendar opened wide up for Magic Keys. Keep that in mind. But we'll start with the single day ticket calendar, where today you can't get a ticket. You cannot walk up and get a ticket, which is pretty typical for a same day. But otherwise, the calendar is completely wide open. So we're not seeing any of those effects that we saw previously, where days were selling out a week in advance, because those were days that were being reserved with that $50 ticket. So things look pretty standard there. Looking next at the Inspire Key, you cannot get a reservation for today, which again is pretty typical, but you can get one for tomorrow. Even though it's just a DCA start, they are flipping, they are becoming available as people make cancellations. Sunday is booked out. Now I will say though that I got a Sunday reservation earlier today, so those are flipping also. They are becoming available, but there's not a lot of them, so you have to kind of be watching. 18th is a DCA start only, and then we're back to being booked out for next Friday. Otherwise, the rest, actually, that's kind of shocking. All of next weekend, the 23rd and the 24th, is available, and the weekend after that. That is atypical. Normally, you will find that the weekends are the ones that go first. Moving forward to April, we can see that April 1st is sold out. You can go, that's wild. You can get a reservation for the 30th or the 31st, Saturday or Sunday, but you can't get one for April 1st. There must be something happening on that date. And then it's, again, interesting, the 13th and the 14th. You can call it spring break or something, but there's an anomaly happening on that weekend as well. Looking at the Enchant Key, that could be our culprit. As we noticed, it was booked out, or I should say blocked out, for the last, 9 days of March. If we look at April, they are no longer blocked out. That's their first day back after that 9 or 10 day stretch there. So that could be the reason why they're taking that first available day in spring. Although again, April 1st doesn't seem like the kind of day that would be... Hi guys. All right. Thanks guys. I mean, maybe not. I'm not sure. There's probably a variety of reasons for that, but that could be part of it. Otherwise, it looks like a fairly standard, a fairly typical reservation calendar. There's the rest of that crowd we were talking about. Getting ready for Magic Happens. It's about to fire here down by Small World any minute, so we better get our feet moving, get out of here, and start our show proper. Remind me though, Fresh Baked, because I want to talk about that reservation calendar a little bit more, maybe perhaps after a break in Galaxy's Edge, because I've got some observations regarding that reservation calendar, as I do, as I always do. But I feel like they're all the more relevant to this conversation today, and considering the environment that we find ourselves in here at Disneyland in the middle of March. Trying to find Adventureland though. Instead I found this queue for a turkey leg at the hub. It's time to eat. 2:50 in the afternoon. Hey guys, how are you? I guess that's turkey leg time. It's turkey leg time at the hub. Let's go to Adventureland.
It's right there.
Top deck looks to be more or less full of guests up there at the Jungle Cruise. But Adventureland does not. This is nice right here, you guys. This is nice. It looks like a lot, but it is observably less than we've been finding here in the last couple of months. As for Jungle Cruise, it's posting at 15 minutes, and I was only half right about the top deck being full. That is empty. They have not even extended into that rear part of the queue. Obviously, neither the back part, but the top deck is full up there, right around that where you go up the steps. But that's it. Right next door is Indiana Jones. Hey, how are you guys? That is posted at 50. When we walked by here last time, it was 65, was it, or 75? It looks, by the way, again, quite a bit more wide open. I'm hoping that I have my memory right, and that I can show you some before and after of what we're seeing so far. But I'm definitely feeling that vibe. Matter of fact, 2 weeks ago, I didn't even come down this way because the mansion was all the way up there in the second deck of Jungle Cruise. So there was no point in checking the queue back here, but we will today. And look at what we found out here, you guys. At the Indiana Jones queue, the exterior queue. Dare I say this is a go? Dare I say this is possibly less than the posted 50 minutes? We got a lot of open lanes out here in the queue, which you don't see often, especially at this time of day. Minimal action in the Lightning Lane queue. There's just a smattering of guests walking up the ramp, not holding up traffic there. The queue looks to be moving. There's movement in the queue. If I were, for example, to make a top 10 list of things to look out for in a queue when you're trying to decide whether or not to get in one, whether or not guests are walking in the queue as opposed to standing is a huge tell for me. And when I see that much movement, that's a go for me. I'm gonna have to try to remember Indiana Jones when we start to look at the tip board a little later on with our Tatooine sunset later. I'm gonna predict that 50 goes down a little bit, maybe to 40, but then again, by the time that happens, it could happen now, and then when that does happen, it'll be a call to action and people will react. So it will have already changed back to a higher wait time by the time we get to the tip board. So we'll keep going. New Orleans Square next, where again, we're finding a much more peaceful, it's just incredible the difference a few days has made. I want to say we shot our last State of Disneyland report about 10 days ago. Normally we shoot on Friday. My goodness, normally we shoot on Friday, which we are today, but our last State of Disney report we shot later than usual. Pirates, meanwhile, is posted at 25. Oh my gosh, okay, come on. It's posted at 25, and that's the back of the queue right there. Right there. That's it. Look at that. There is one clear inference we can make from this observation right off the bat. I don't know if I want to make that observation yet. I think I want to get a little more data. I want to see a little bit more of the park before I make any judgment. But this is very telling. Just 10 days ago, you couldn't hardly move out here. Guys, it's not even on the bridge. It's not even, the queue isn't even on the bridge. What the what? That's gonna be me all day. Often it's, oh my gosh, I can't believe how busy it is today. Oh my gosh, look at it. And I keep like re-establishing that wow factor. And it's gonna be the same thing today, I think, but in the opposite. The rubber band effect on crowds today from the last report is incredible. It's so not busy. We can actually cross right here. We can cross through what would be the Pirates queue. You recall last week, I made a big deal about how we had to make a U-turn. We had to come all the way around, make a U-turn up there if we wanted to go back to Critter Country and come back to these steps. It's like night and day. Hopefully I don't wind up being some kind of broken record, but I mean, it's kind of a big deal. It's important to me at least, because the more that we can observe, and the more that we can analyze and be able to say, hey, there's a trend. If we can spot a trend, and we can definitely see some cause and effect, that makes our jobs a lot easier, and we can help you guys more in that regard. So what we're seeing today is almost predictable. I mean, this is, remember, every time I'm gonna do you guys remember how difficult it was to walk through here? I even had to stop and turn around and say, look at that. Look at this, that's a thing that Disney needs to address. No problem whatsoever right there. That's a huge pinch point, you guys. That's a huge pinch point right there if it were a busy day, but it's no problem whatsoever. By the way, this is something we talked about in yesterday's construction report, but I'll observe it here today. I walked through here, I don't know, a week and a half ago or so, and I'm like, why does this look different? Obviously they're doing stuff. Oh my gosh, there's that smell again. Guys, the cookies coming out of the Harbor Galley, it's ridiculous. It's like, why does that look different right there? It's because the cypress trees have been taken out. And you could see the mansion. You could see the side of the mansion in a way that you never could have before. And you can also see, this camera doesn't have very good zoom, so I'm gonna try, but you can see the top of the crypt, the mausoleum exit. I forget what they call that. But that's the exit right there, and you can see they've kind of, looks like they're skinning that a little bit. They took out all of those trees and whatever you want to call that. You know, I guess they were trees, bushes, whatever, that were enclosing that area where there was the merch back there. It's all gone. New Orleans Square. I don't know if people appreciate this as much as they should. I'm not even sure if I do. Hey, how are you? How's it going? New Orleans Square is not, it's gonna be different. New Orleans Square is not gonna look like it used to in a matter of, I don't know, 5-6 months probably. It's not gonna look like it used to. It will be different, noticeably. Critter Country. Winnie the Pooh was 35 minutes last time. Looks like a walk-on right now. Yeah, that's it right there. The queue is actually at the, oh my. I'm gonna be a broken record, and I apologize in advance. But seriously, what's better than Winnie the Pooh and the 100-Acre Wood? If you were to say, hey Dave, what if they took out this attraction and brought back the Country Bear Jamboree? What would you say to that, Dave? I would say, I'm good, thank you very much, but I'm good. I prefer Winnie the Pooh and the 100-Acre Wood. I prefer this environment. I prefer this queue, and I prefer the music. I prefer the sound. I prefer the fact that it's a short dark ride, not a 20-minute long Country Bear Jamboree review. By the time it's done, you've been looking at your watch for the last 10 minutes. It's historic, I'll give you that, but I think this is just about perfect. Looks like we get a little bit of our zen back on the Hungry Bear Trail as well. Disneyland for me, man. I tell you what, that is Disneyland for me. That's how I'm able to come to the park 3 times a week, every week, or at least once a week every week for the past 12, 13 years. Now it's 3 times a week. It's because of scenes like that. And what's happening right now is transition into Galaxy's Edge. That's the park for me. So we all want to guess Rise of the Resistance looks like right now. What do you want to guess? Nothing happening here. Is it closed? This almost looks like a closed queue. Let's not react too soon. Oh my gosh, you guys. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. I thought the queue was closed. I thought the attraction was closed. The back of the queue is at the cave entrance. This is an open attraction. And that's a posted wait time of 45 minutes. 45. Lightning Lane is pretty much dead. Nothing happened here. I mean, that's got to be, I would be cautious though at this point. I would be cautious about getting into that queue still, because that 45 minutes is going to look real good on the tip board. It's going to look real good, and you're going to see a lot of people coming into the land at this point, because in spite of the fact that it's not busy, There's fewer guests than usual. There are still more than enough guests in the park right now to fill up the Rise of the Resistance queue. It's popular enough to fill the queue. Even on a slow day, you could still fill it if people feel like it's a good value. So I would, I don't know, I'm a little hazy on getting in that queue. But if nothing else, it's another example of just how today just isn't what it was 10 days ago. Speaking of queues and wait times, let's get that Tatooine sunset and check out the tip board. Cheers, fresh baked. Perfection. Alice in Wonderland. 10 minutes. That, right off the bat, I was almost tempted to say, yeah, standard. No, that's not standard. That's not even close to standard. Alice is always a minimum 30 minutes. Autopia, 15 with a return time in less than an hour. Big Thunder, 35, less than standard, return time of an hour. Buzz Lightyear, 35, less than standard, return time in 20 minutes. Casey Jr. is 5 minutes, and they're still just running one train. Chip and Dale Gadgets Coaster, 30 minutes, kind of standard, maybe a little low. Dumbo 25, less than standard. Well, less than what we've been seeing since January. Nemo 25, Indiana Jones 40. Called it. Small World is 10 minutes. I would like to see how that looks. By the way, return time of now. Oh, by Indiana Jones, they're still selling Genie Plus for that one. 6-hour return time, by the way, on Indiana Jones. Jungle Cruise is 20 minutes. King Arthur Carousel 5, Tea Party 10. Winnie the Pooh 5, Matterhorn is an hour. Okay, Matterhorn, man, I'm so proud of you. The Matterhorn just stays busy no matter what. I love it. Return time in 2.5 hours. Runaway Railway, 20, God, I'm tempted to check that one again. 20 minutes, I might go look for the back of the queue on that one, but that's a call to action. By the time we get there, that may be up to 30 or 40. Return time in 3 hours, that also suggests that will be the case. There are still plenty of Lightning Lane guests that have not yet redeemed their Lightning Lane there. Smuggler's Run, 30 minutes, return time of an hour. Toads is 20. Good job. That's kind of what you see that with the dark rides. They pretty much are the same, no matter how busy it is. It takes a really busy day for those times to get really excessive, but you're gonna wait 20 minutes on Toads, whether it's busy or not. Peter Pan, 35, standard. Pinocchio is 10, that's light. Pirates is now at 20. Oh no, that's right. We left it at 25 earlier at 2-hour return time. But that was about maybe an hour ago, not even, that we checked in on Pirates. It's 3:36 as we look at this now. Roger Rabbit's 35. Wow, that seems really light. Return time of an hour. Snow White is 10. Space Mountain is closed. And you can get a Lightning Lane in 4 hours from now. Star Tours, virtual walk-on. That could be one that we go check out. 15 minutes with a return time of now. That means there's very little activity on Lightning Lane right now. It means it probably won't have much impact on standby. Rise is 45 minutes. So what did it say before? Did it say 45? I can't remember now. No, it did say 45. That's right. We'll check on that later, maybe. Strawberry 10, and there you go. So that was a pretty illuminating tip board. Let's follow up on that with another observation here at Smuggler's Run, and then we'll get into our main observation from this day. Start with Smuggler's Run, 30 minutes. It has maintained that standby wait time as we saw on the tip board, 30 minute standby right now. That's a legit 30 minutes. It's a little bit busy out here right now, but I think most of that is people collecting to get pictures of Chewbacca and Rey out here at the Millennium Falcon. But that's a legit 30 minutes for Smuggler's Run, I bet. Earlier I teased an inference that I was going to make from our early observations from Indiana Jones, Pirates of the Caribbean, New Orleans Square in general. And again, the tip board and then seeing what we're seeing here in Galaxy's Edge, I feel like it's pretty safe to say that this observation has some merit. What people want. There's lots of demand. The demand for Disney is still very, very high, given the opportunity. But people think the park is overpriced. They can't afford to go like they used to. They can't afford to go as often as they used to. But given the opportunity, given a chance to bring the family for $50 for the kids, and people just crowded the park. They bought the heck out of those tickets. They showed up and they flooded this park in the middle of February when the park should be dead, and early March in crowds that I haven't seen in 5 years. The demand is still very, very high, but they just can't afford it. And I feel like that's Disney, the only way they're gonna fill the park like they did for those periods is to make the park more affordable on a regular basis. Now couple that with the fact, that's what they did, by the way, for that time. Couple that with the fact that Magic Keys are still available. It was the day after I did our last report, so that would have been about 10 days ago. I want to say that Magic Keys have been on sale now for just about 2 weeks. That is the longest that we've seen them available. You can still buy 3 out of the 4 Magic Keys right now. The only key you can't buy right now is the Imagine Key, but you can buy an Inspire Key, you can buy a Believe Key, and you can buy an Enchant Key, and the reservation calendar is looking more or less like it always has. They have not flooded the parks. There has not been a sudden rush of Magic Keys filling up the parks and filling up the reservation calendar. Now, why that is so could be one of 2 reasons. The demand isn't there. Why they're still available, that is. The demand, or they just have made fewer available the last couple times they sold them. They remember the last 2 iterations of them selling Magic Keys, they were only available for a day or 2. They were sold out within a couple days. Now we're at 10 days and they're still going in. I don't feel like there's any sign of them slowing down. I mean, who knows, but it's been 10 days now. More than that even, maybe. So either they had a very small supply made available before and they sold out quickly, or the demand is significantly less. I know that the pessimist out there, the anti-Disney person out there, is going to say the demand is gone. People have chosen, they're begging out. I don't believe that's so. Just look at the parks that we've seen during that $50 ticket. The demand is still there. It's just too expensive. I think Disney has decided with Magic Keys to let them in. I think they've decided to let them in. They're going to allow more Magic Keys in the park because they want to have the parks to be a little bit busier. And now, mind you, we're not experiencing that yet, but I think it'll take a little while for that to catch up. But that's the inference that I'm making. That's the observation that I'm making regarding what's happened, what's transpired over the last 2 months or so here in the parks, is that there's still plenty of people love Disneyland. They love it. They're even willing to tolerate Genie Plus. They're willing to tolerate the reservation system. They just couldn't afford it. Let's get back to Fantasyland, looking at rides and wait times. And by the way, observed that although it looks busy, I'm not sure how it actually looks through the lens right now. It looks like there's a lot of people here, but it's nowhere near what we saw 2 weeks ago. Just look at the strollers. There's maybe half as many strollers here as we saw last time. Matter of fact, we're going to come back around because we did the whole Dumbo thing, and I think we'll get a better look there. But I can tell you that this isn't near as many guests as were in Fantasyland before, and we're going to be able to see that show up in the queues for rides like Pinocchio Snow White and Dumbo. And we'll even check in on Casey Jr. But Dumbo was 10 minutes on the tip board before. The queue was out here. Remember that? Remember the queue? Oh my God, it was all over the place down there. So already we can see it's visibly less crowded. It looks bad. I know it doesn't look good, but I promise you, you don't feel the pressure of all the guests, and there's a difference. There's just a difference in the way it feels when you're in amongst the crowd. This is nothing. Snow White is 20 minutes posted. That looks about right. Again, they haven't even built the extended queue. They didn't even put the chains up. So this is how it's been all day. They haven't even felt inspired to do that. Peter Pan was posted 35. Look at all this. Look at open queue space here. This whole outer queue is empty. It says, look at. I mean, that's darn near a bargain right there. All that empty queue space right there. Not even close. Mr. Toads, I mean, go get it, Mr. Toads. Toad says, I want to be 20 today. All right. That's so great. I love it. But yeah, look at this. Look at it. You could barely navigate this space before. Not near as many strollers clogging up the walkway here as there were before. While Dumbo has a posted wait time of 25 minutes. Let's go check on Alice. You guys remember what we saw? Alice was 10 minutes? I almost felt like that was hard to believe. There's no way that it could stay that way. Walking by here, that's not a 10-minute queue. I'm gonna check the app real quick while we're standing here. But that's a 30 or a 40-minute queue right there. And that's a monorail. Wow. It's still going. It says, the app says 10 minutes still. But yeah, go ahead. I don't think so. People like to say that the app is wrong, but it's too high always. This is one of those cases where that 10 minutes is more like, yeah, 30 or 40 probably. The reason it looks that way is because it says 10 minutes in the app still. Call to action. Guests are coming in there, they feel like it's a great opportunity to go ride Alice in Wonderland, and they're filling up that queue right quick. God, the app has Storybook Land at 10 minutes also, which, this is not a bad queue. I would get in this queue, but it's still not a 10-minute queue. That's a 20, well, it depends on how many boats they've got going. But that's probably 20 minutes. It's often the case though, this queue is all filled up out here. By this time of the day, this will be all full of people right here. We forgot to check on the Mad Tea Party. But I can already tell it's maybe 2 rotations. I think that said 10 minutes also. 25. Really, there's no queue, I'm afraid of, at the teacups. But yeah, that's probably 2 rotations in there. Maybe 3 rotations. Figure 1 right there, another one right there, and another one to the back of the queue. Yeah, that's 3 rotations. Toontown is next. Before we even get into Runaway Railway, I want to check Roger Rabbit first. I'm so curious. I cannot find, it seems like every time we come to Roger Rabbit, it's closed. Lately. Oh my, yeah, that changed fast. That's a 60-minute standby for Roger Rabbit. Let's just peek in here real quick. I want to see how much Lightning Lane they've got in here, which maybe 20, 20, 25 guests maybe, which is not a lot. I mean, it's for any given ride, it's not a lot. But for Roger Rabbit, that is often the case where you don't see very many out there. And we reached the, nope, that's not the back. I thought that was the back. We still haven't found, oh, there it is. So the back of the queue, yeah, that's pretty rough. That's a 60-minute wait. And it does look like they're kind of posted a little bit. They're not moving very well. They don't look like they're happy to be here. I've sat in that queue sometimes where I just thought my life would end in the Roger Rabbit queue. Yeah, that's a good sized Lightning Lane queue right there. Now, when we were looking at the tip board, the posted wait time I thought was a call to action for people to show up to Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. Let's find out if that happened. By the way, I can say already that since we've been in Fantasyland, the wait times have been a little higher than I was expecting. You know, Alice in Wonderland was posted at 10, but that wasn't a 10-minute queue. Same for Storybook Land. I don't remember what Roger Rabbit was when we looked at it, but it certainly wasn't 60 minutes. It was something like 45, I want to say. And yeah, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway will be no different. If the queue's out the door, it's at least 45 minutes. The posted says up there 50 minutes, so it's the door plus however long it takes you to get out here. So, you know, when we saw that tip board, I would have imagined the back of the queue being probably around the first prop room, but this is significantly worse. How much you want to bet right now? Rise of the Resistance is higher than 45, and Indiana Jones is higher than 40. It just seems like no matter what, Toontown is going to be rocking. No matter what. 60 for Roger Rabbit, near 60 for Runaway Railway, and it's a full land out here today. We talked about this in the live stream on Thursday, though. Part of the reason for that is the fact that it's so compressed. Toontown is a very dense land. They've added a major e-ticket attraction, a people eater that can consume a lot of guests without actually increasing the footprint of the land itself. All those guests, I mean, they're in that building right now, but then after they're done, or either before they go into Runaway or after they're done with Runaway, they're going to experience more of Toontown. So they've increased the population of the land without adding more square footage for people to exist when they're not in the queue for Runaway Railway. So you get this very dense, very crowded feeling all the time. Well, Minnie's, where's the queue for Minnie? Oh, actually, they took the time down from the board. Have they closed the queue? They might. There is no wait. There's no cast members out here, though, to tell you that it's closed. So that's super light for Minnie right now. But right next door at Mickey's house, it's still its usual 45 minutes. And that 30-minute wait for gadgets is no more as well. People have shown up here at Toontown. It was 30, now it's 45, and seeing the back of the queue back there, that's gonna be most of that 45, I bet. Head back out into Fantasyland to see if the rest of this park is holding up to what we saw earlier. It was 10 minutes on the stand or on the tip board earlier. This says 15 minutes right now for Small World, and it's not even that, I don't think. And again, I have to say, broken record, nothing compared to what we saw here 10 days ago when this place was bursting at the seams, and the Lightning Lane queue was back out there into the main walkway, and I want to say standby was approaching an hour or maybe more. But this is, I mean, if that's 15 minutes, it's not more than that, I'll say that. Monorail, thank you. I'm kind of wondering what's going to be happening here at Matterhorn. Was that 60 minutes we saw on the tip board real, Or is that a call to action to stay away, and has it since dissipated? I'll say this is the biggest Lightning Lane queue I've seen all day. They filled up almost the entire space here. That's significant. That's a lot of guests. That's gonna mess up standby for sure. And it is still posted at 60 minutes here. People are getting in the queue. That's a full queue in there. So they are not standing or staying away. Makes me wonder if I need to reevaluate that benchmark, that I have a mental benchmark for each attraction. There is a built-in limit to how long people will wait for a given attraction. Peter Pan is 45 minutes. That queue will never grow beyond that. Indiana Jones, maybe 90, I think. Space Mountain, 90. My limit for Matterhorn was 60. I felt like people would not get in that queue at all if it was ever at 60. But 10 days ago we saw 75, and I see people getting in that queue, and it's posted at 60. People are saying yes to that queue right now. Looks like Nemo may have found its legs. That tip board we saw said 25 minutes. I kind of get the feeling like what we were looking at that tip board was maybe a little less than real. Still slow today, but a little less than real. Wow, there you go. Okay, so that's a whole bunch of folks not in the queue right there. And that might be 25. It's actually down. It was posted at 25, it's now 20. And while I was checking out the Nemo queue, I happened to notice outside of my eye, the Galactic Grill actually looked quite agreeable. It is 4:54 in the afternoon, so it's just about time to eat. Normally you see just a bunch of people up here.
Fresh baked.
Hey, how are you? Getting their space cheeseburgers. But I mean, this looks like it's just a few minutes to place an order. Almost. Well, I would imagine the return time for mobile order is right now. As a matter of fact, I'll look. And indeed, the return time is right now for Galactic Grill. But still, if I was, somebody trying to stay away from mobile order and who preferred to go standby, I'd get in that queue easy. No problem. I've seen way worse than that. Topia looks to have grown a little bit. It is now 30 minutes. But that's actually a very agreeable looking 30 minutes if you ask me. Just a little bit of a queue back there up on the risers, and there is some in the rotunda, but still, if I were here today looking to ride Autopia, that's a yes for me. I think I'm good with that, especially when I don't see hardly anybody. They've just flushed the entire Lightning Lane queue. They've just sent them all, so now there's no Lightning Lane except, well, okay, nope, those guys are gone too, so that's it. Tomorrowland's got a lot of life still, you guys. Hi guys. David. Lots of people ask for Tomorrowland. Where's Tomorrowland 3.0? We want a new Tomorrowland. And I've maintained for a long time, why should they? People still show up here. It's still perhaps the busiest land in the entire park. What motivation do they have to spend a bunch of money here? I mean, I know they want to make the park better, but if people are showing up, it seems to be doing okay. Look at this place. It's hopping. Right? Is it not? Tomorrowland's great. Got some great attractions. Great music, great vibe. Wait till you see this though. I'm tempted to go in there and find out. But as we walk up to Space Mountain entrance, the posted wait time up there says 30 minutes. 30. I gotta look. I gotta go see. By the way, look at that. A lot of empty tables here at Pizza Planet. You don't often see that. That's also one of the most crowded places you can be on any given day at Disneyland, even though the pizza's terrible. Very busy joint, Pizza Planet is. It's empty. When's the last time you see it? I was here at Rope Drop. I was here at, what was it, 8:08 in the morning in our last Rope Drop video, and there was more people in this queue than there are right now. This is that call. Look it. We made it just in time. They're flowing in. But yeah, they're just walking right in right there. That's incredible. Is this just after a breakdown, maybe? I have to think that might be the case. There's no reason for this queue, compared to what we've seen elsewhere in the park, for this queue to be 30 minutes. And just to see people streaming in like that. Hey guys. But certainly the guests are responding and they're coming in quickly. I'm very curious to see how long it takes for this situation to change, to see how long it takes for them to start backing up out here into the extended queue. I've been posted out here for about a minute since I made that last statement about being curious, and already, so the back of the queue has started to form and grow out here. They were going right into the tunnel, but now they are backing up. It is presently 5:04 as we watch this queue grow. And this is one of those situations, once more, where you better be in the neighborhood like we were when that 30 minutes is posted for you to take advantage, I think. .506, and as that river of guests continues to flow into the queue, the back is now, it's starting to peek into the door, so they're gonna start to build up in there. 5:07, and the queue has in fact started to grow here, and as a matter of fact, there's cast members. I think the alert is up that they have to start reconfiguring. You can see a cast member making her way to the back of that area, or the front of this section, to reconfigure the queues to start making use of the switchbacks up there, because there's only the one lane right now, and the lane is growing out here. So she's going to go in there and create some new switchbacks to fill in those guests, and all those guests will flow in there. So as she starts to adjust those queues, we'll see a sort of a false flow of guests start to, this queue will start to move because they're kind of posted right now. And this queue will start to move a little bit as they fill in those gaps. It'll shorten the back of the queue. It'll shorten, actually it's now going almost out the door right now here. But in a matter of about a minute or so, they'll fill up that space up there, and we'll be back. The back of the queue will be back closer to that satellite. Man, that did not take that did not take long at all. She didn't do enough. I thought maybe we would be able to push this queue a little further after. Okay, so she's still working on growing queue back there, but it's 5:09. She needs to start building that whole section up there. So that was about 5 minutes, right? 5 minutes to see the back of the queue stick out of this. They haven't filled up the whole building in there, maybe a third of it. But they're going to, and they're going to keep pushing more guests in there because the river continues. But it took about 5 minutes for this guest to come out here, out into this walkway. I already tell you, I find that stuff fascinating. That to me is the most interesting, fascinating thing to observe and learn and to watch happen. Watching the patterns, the traffic patterns, the social engineering concept of all that, it just gives me like goosebumps when I think about it. And think about how guests and the park and everything reacts, the sort of symbiotic nature of the whole thing, and the ebbs and it's like watching nature. Love it. Got to be right there though, man. If you want to capitalize on that 30-minute queue for Space Mountain, I sure hope you are in the area. Buzz Lightyear looks a little busy right now. I haven't seen the posted wait time yet, but that's a pretty, oh, you know what, there's no, yeah, Lightning Lane is still empty. Not a bad Lightning Lane at all. This is almost all standby. 30 minutes. And if there isn't, oh, okay, no, there is still, yeah, there's Lightning Lane. It's coming out the door. So I hope that doesn't go too bad for Buzz, but that 30 minutes looks pretty accurate-ish. Meanwhile, Star Tours, we saw it was posted 15, it says 25 now.
She wants to go.
But they haven't even opened the doors to the rear, extended queue. And there's actually nobody in this queue out here, the outer queue. The doors are shut, and there's nobody in the queue, and it says 25 minutes, so that's definitely a go right there. Definitely a go for Star Tours, especially if there's nobody in the Lightning Lane queue right now either. None.
How'd they go? I bet they were beautiful.
Why do I feel like everybody's leaving Frontierland right now? There's a lot of people here, but they're all going in the same direction. That's interesting. I wonder if that's going to affect... It could be that they're getting ready to go to the parade, Magic Happens, which I think is firing in about an hour, maybe? What if that'll affect the Big Thunder wait time?
We're done with the parade. It's that crazy. It's time my dad was like...
Well, certainly it's not bad. It's posted at 40 minutes, and there's the back of the queue is right here. It is often the case when we wind up these shows at about this time each day that most of this extended queue out here is, full-ish of guests, but it's fairly empty. Lightning Lane is ish. And of course, the Big Thunder queue looks remarkably like just about every other queue we observe here at the end of the day. Big Thunder's Big Thunder. I had hoped, in my mind's eye, I had plans to get on the Mark Twain and end the show there, do our wrap there, because I was here earlier today getting construction footage on there. And when I was shooting at about 9 a.m. or so, 9:30, no, 10, there was a big bulldozer just going all over the place and I couldn't get a very good shot. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to come back and try to ride the Mark Twain and get another shot. But such that it is, I will not be able to ride the Mark Twain, but at least we can get her in frame. It's been great. It's been really, really great reconnecting with the Mark Twain, reconnecting with the cast members who work the Mark Twain. Like the cast members on Main Street, I have a personal connection with so many of them. Save for Mark Twain, there are cast members here who, I've seen over, anyway, I don't want to get into it. I love the Mark Twain. I'm very glad she's back. And I think I've been on it maybe a dozen times since it reopened, since she reopened. But anyway, let's wrap this show. And I feel like the final thoughts we can have are pretty apparent. That the $50 ticket, the kids ticket, definitely had a major impact on just that the surge of crowds, the excess crowds. Make no mistake, the park is still plenty busy today. And if the casual guests were here today, they would have said, oh my gosh, Disneyland, there's so many people. But this is nothing, you guys. It's funny because people have asked me, I've encountered a lot of guests today and they've asked me, what do you think of the crowds today? And I've said, it's great. This is a delight. This is easy. I could do this all day. And a few of them were like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah. But I'm here all the time, so I could, I'm acutely aware of what things were like just, a few days ago. And how things have been, since the parks have reopened and everything. We're still having that conversation, it seems like. But for sure it is the case that demand has not decreased. People want to believe that it has. And there's a narrative out there that says that people are tired of Disney and they don't want to go to Disneyland anymore. But I'm here to tell you, there are lots of people here, and not just the 1%. There are there are lots of 10% and 20% and 30% in this park today. But they just need the right, situation to get them to come to the park now. But there's more than enough guests to fill this park on a regular basis. They just needed a chance. And that $50 ticket certainly did give them that chance. Now, how that's going to, look in the coming months as we go into summer, because they're not doing that in the summer, is that a thing that Disney's going to have to reconcile? Are they going to have to maybe continue to do that? Because I do feel like a kid's ticket should be less. A kid's ticket should be less than an adult ticket. Always. Shouldn't it? Watch out for Magic Keys too. I'm going to keep an eye on things. I haven't said anything much in a video about the Magic Keys because I kept waiting for the other shoe to drop. This is a long outro. I kept waiting for the other shoe to drop on that and for them to say, okay, we're closed, we're done. And now it's been almost 2 weeks and they're still available. 3 of them anyway. I wonder if they have finally, have they finally realized that something that I've been saying for years is that the Magic Key holder, the annual pass holder, is the mortar of the park. They need us to fill the gaps. They can fill the park on a regular basis, but whenever there's a lull, a low, we go in there and we fill that low. We go where there other people aren't. If there's a short queue, we go in that one. If there's a long queue, we stay out of there. We don't have a lot of impact. We don't make our presence felt in the queue so much. So, but meanwhile, we're here to buy food and merchandise and do other things. You need them. You need Magic Keys in here. And I think maybe they've come around. I got to do another video on that. We talked about changes in the air a couple sessions ago, and there are things happening that would back that up. But that's where we're going to end the show today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this State of Disneyland report. If you did, please consider joining our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/freshbaked. Or you can follow us on Instagram at _freshbaked, on Twitter at freshbakedisney, that's fresh with no E, and on TikTok at freshbakedisney. Otherwise, thanks for watching, everybody. We love you. Be safe out there. Be kind to one another. Fresh Baked.
Well, the trade stick that's down there, that's